Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Monday night. We're back again after a week off in Crackdom.
It was Crackdom?
Crackdom.
That's what I thought he said. I thought that's what he said.
You did say Crackdom.
Crackdom.
You said Crackdom.
I don't know. Maybe I did say that. It was the crack of Dom anyway. So it is season 3, episode 37, I believe. Plastic Crack. So welcome everybody. We're joined by Glenn from Warbases. Welcome, Glenn.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. Well,
Very
well, thank you.
Good. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we're all recovering. We had we won't go into it too much, but we'll probably do more of it next week once we can give you all the details of how much money was raised and what have you. But Plastic Crackcon 3 up in Derby last Saturday was a great success. I think everyone enjoyed themselves.
I did, except in that picture where Ken forced his head into my mouth when he was trying to look funny. It was a cracking time.
It was a cracking
time. It was really good. It was really good, and it was bigger. There was more stuff going on. There was far more curry than the last time.
There was no Baileys involved, thank God.
Do you know what?
Nobody really misbehaved this time.
No, I think that was Hayley. I think because Hayley organised the curry, that was her plan, was to get us all so full that there was no possible way there was going to be any misbehaving.
I got to see Miller inhale 3 plates of curry. It was like he's like a human vacuum. It was like a human vacuum cleaner. I mean, he sat down with his plate. I was like, gone. It's like he just inhaled the entire thing.
You say nothing went wrong. Not with us. Wasn't there a stabbing in our travel lodge?
Well, there was nothing involving us. Well, no. I don't think so anyway. But no. Yes, there was a stabbing in our travel lodge, which was a bit scary. Well, we think there was.
The fire alarm went off again.
And the fire alarm went off again. Absolutely. But, although I did get in all kinds of trouble with Elaine because I got home and I said, it was actually. She said, "Oh, did you all get drunk?" And I said, "No, actually, she was quite quiet, and we didn't even go to the nightclub." And she went, "What? Nightclub?" Oh shit!
No. Steph did. If he's in the chat, Steph and Jill did. They held up tradition. They went to the nightclub.
Bloody hell! Anyway, welcome everybody. Monday, as I say, we'll talk more about that next week when we've got all the details and and if anyone's got any pictures, please do upload them to the Facebook page. Details in the description down below because we would love to see everyone's pictures. And welcome to everybody watching in the audience tonight and also on the catch-up. I don't want to forget you lovely people who watch it in the follow-up. So yeah, we're joined tonight by Glenn from Warbases, everybody's favourite MDF supplier. And we just discovered one of the biggest surprises of life, that you can't smell the MDF anymore.
Nope. I genuinely cannot smell it. Honestly, it amazes people. I know we go to shows and I get customers coming up and they tell me, they love the smell when they open the envelope or they open the bag, and I can't smell it. I'm totally nose blind immune to it. I have to go.
I think Ian's here.
Yeah, Ian's in. I kind of have to go away on holiday for 2 weeks abroad somewhere to come back and be able to smell it, and it lasts about 5 minutes, and then it's worn off again.
That is brilliant.
I genuinely, I think, I think it's a lot like people that work in breweries or kind of chocolate making factories, where they're surrounded by it all the time, so they don't notice it. I can't smell it.
You poor man.
I know.
It is one of those delights, isn't it? When it arrives in the post, my wife goes, "Oh, is that wood stuff again, isn't it? I can smell it." I haven't even opened the envelope, but you can smell it. I don't know how you don't. That's extraordinary. Anyway, that's brilliant. That's really, really good. So, Glenn, tell us. You mentioned when we were talking earlier that Warbase is obviously a family business. What's the background on it? Just how did it get set up and how did it start?
So, I think most people probably know, but for those that aren't maybe too sure, the business is managed by the family, so it's myself and my mum and my dad, so Martin and Diane. And for the guys that are watching in the UK, they'll have seen the three of us at shows.
Yeah.
But it was Martin that came up with the idea way back in 2007 now. So we're 15 years old this year.
Wow.
That's
a lot of wood.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable amount of wood. I've got a little tracker for how much we ship out every week, and it's a lot of wood.
Wow.
But yeah, 2007, Martin was working at the time as a joiner, and he was kind of painting the odd figure here or there because he, back in the 80s when he was at high school, was playing D&D a lot. And in 2007, one night, he was scrolling through eBay, just having a wee peruse at what figures were available, basically. You know, he'd pick up a couple of figures, paint them up, put them on a shelf, and keep on going again. And he found someone else doing MDF bases. And being a joiner, he knew that there was some MDF lying around, and he had a table saw. So he said, let's have a go at that, you know. So that was 2007. Started with an eBay shop. And a now very good friend of ours, boy over in Falkirk by the name of Kenny Thompson, was running what's the Carronade war game show. And Kenny invited Martin along. And it all kind of went from there, you know. You know, you go to one show and you get invited to another, and then you get invited to another, and the next thing you're doing 25 a year. We've calmed that down a little bit now, but yeah, it kind of just snowballed really. You know, we went from doing just square cut bases because that's all we could do on a table saw. To having people asking for movement trays and for circles and octagons and hexagons, and we can't do that on a table saw. So I think it was about 2009 we picked up our first laser cutter. We took a bank loan out and cross your fingers and hope and pray that it pays itself off every month. And that got put into our garage at the time. And Martin was still working as a joiner, so he was working. What was he working? I think it was 6 till 2, and coming home at 2 in the afternoon and working the rest of the day with that. And that went from the eBay store to our first ever website, along with doing the shows. And then from the first laser, we got our first van for doing the shows. And then doing the shows led us to the second laser. And then we outgrew the garage. So we built a shed on the side of the garage and then outgrew the shed and ended up very quickly in our first unit, which we very quickly outgrew. And it all kind of just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then we moved to the unit that we're in now in 2013, I think. So it'll be 10 years next year. And it keeps growing. I think we're up to 9 lasers in total at the moment now.
Oh, bloody hell.
That's
a lot of MDF.
It's a lot of MDF.
Smell it. Blimey.
So yeah, it kind of just kept on growing, really, you know. But we were always really cautious and really careful, and everything was always a justified expense. You know, that first laser, that was a very much a run off the deep end and hope and pray for the best. But from that, we've always been very careful when we've needed to get a new van, move unit, get a new laser, that the money's been there to justify it, and the workload's been there to justify it.
Yeah.
It's
any time you go from having a normal job to doing something like this is a big step, isn't it? And then to do it for the three of you running it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was 2011. Martin called it a day as a joiner, and Warbases became his full-time job, and we just moved to our first unit in Falkirk at the time, and it was very much we've gone from a guaranteed wage every week, every month, every year to, is anyone going to buy any MDF this week? It was very much a run and jump and hope, and it's one that's definitely paid off for us. We've gone from strength to strength, and my mum Diane, she came on to do the admin side of things. So if you drop us an email, it's her that picks it up. Martin still overall manages it. He deals predominantly with the designing aspect of things. And I'm the general dog's body that tries and picks up everything else. Kind of running up and down the road to shows with Martin. I deal with all managing the unit, because we've got 3-4 guys in there helping us now as well, outside of the family. So 1 full-time and 3 part-time members of staff to fill in the gaps.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's the business is managed by the family, but we've got our extended family that work with us. We've got guys that have been there for a year, some guys that have been there for 5 or 6 with us now. And it's great. I mean, I was still in high school when Martin started the business, and I can still remember the first time I ever went to a show. I'd just turned 14, and I got home from school on the Friday night, and Martin says, "There's one of these wee shows up the road." And I'd never been before. To me, wargaming was Games Workshop, and that was it. I'd never seen anything else. I'd seen Games Workshop on the high street, and that was it. And he said, "Well, how about you jump in the car?" And I was like, "I don't want, 14-year-old me. I don't want to get out of bed at, what time do we need to get out? We need to get out of bed at 5. I don't want to get out of bed at 5. So
Ken's still like that.
I certainly am.
It was, how about 20 quid and a chippy on the way home? And I was like, yeah all right, I'll do that. and I turned up there, and I was like, "Dad, what's all this historical stuff? What's all this other stuff?" And he was like, no, there's a lot more to the hobby than just Games Workshop. And that was it. My mind was blown, and I was hooked, totally hooked.
So was he into wargaming as well before? Or was it just pure chance that he saw the basing option?
Yeah, not so much the wargaming side of it. It was he used to play D&D back in the 80s. I think it was it the Red Box edition in the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
And that was him going through high school. He was a big D&D guy. And then left high school, had me and my sister, and kind of fell away from it a wee bit through his 20s and into his 30s. But when he started the business at the time, me and my sister were both at high school, and he was starting to kind of just pick up painting the odd figure. And yeah, I think it wasn't necessarily wargaming as such that he was in. It was just it was more the D&D side of it, really, to be honest. It was very much a learning curve when we first started back in 2007. Martin will tell you, he can still remember being at the first ever show, and some guy walking down the stands and stopped in front of ours and kind of looked across the table and kind of assessed it and went, "That'll never take off," and kept on walking. And you know, that was it. That was all he needed. He just needed someone to go, no, that's not going to work. You know, anyway, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. No idea to this day.
But you're very grateful.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it puts the roof over my head, along with 5 or 6 others. You know, and yeah, that guy turning around and going, no, that's never going to take off. That was all he needed at the time. You know,
brilliant.
I
think we've got something going. I tell you what, you got someone going. You got those of our audience going about MDF. The smell of MDF. I think there's some weird people out here. Love the smell of MDF in the morning.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I love the burnt MDF smell. Blimey. Who else is there's a load of talk about MDF. There we go. Freshly paid DF. Definitely very, very weird. I love Ken. I'm an MDF sniffer. There's nothing better than doing a line of 50 by 60 bases. Ken, you'll need some treatment, mate. And there was Matt wanted to know, how many times a day does someone show freaking laser beam?
Not too often, actually, surprisingly. But you know, I'm probably going to run around work all day tomorrow now, shouting that. You know.
And he wanted to know also. Somebody wanted to know: do you have the first laser cutter in a glass case somewhere?
No, that one unfortunately hit the scrap pile a few years back.
Disappointing.
The first couple we got were they were okay, but very temperamental and quite keen at breaking, which isn't handy when you're trying to run a business. So yeah, we moved on to a new company, and I think we've been using those guys for about the last 8 or 10 years now, and they're amazing. And touch wood, we haven't had too many problems of late either, so they're all going to go and break tomorrow now, and that'll be my fault.
There you go. You've just cursed it, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dom, as a veteran gamer, when do you remember MDF basing and building sort of? Because I
love how you called him a veteran gamer.
I don't know whether I should be happy or sad about that one, Steve.
I thought, to be fair, I'm glad he just said a gamer. I thought he was just going to say, Dom, you're old enough. Do you remember when MDF?
Yeah.
You're an old shit.
You're an old bastard, aren't you, Dom?
No, I mean, I've been in the hobby over 30 years now, and I can't remember. It just seemed to appear. There was no sort of gradual thing, and it was there 1 minute, and then the next minute.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because Martin started using his table saw.
That's probably what it was. I don't remember where it came from. You're right, because I remember we used to just base on bits of cardboard and things like that. It was bloody awful. I did anyway. It was terrible. And then suddenly people came along to the club and they had these nice, pieces of MDF properly cut, and it was like, oh, how did that happen? So yeah, I don't. It was a long time ago, but I don't remember exactly. But you're right; it just suddenly seemed to appear out of nowhere.
My first memory of it is: does anyone remember when Games Workshop did those MDF workbench things? That was I got mine in about late 90s, and it fell apart after a couple of years. It wasn't very sturdy at all. But that I was like, oh, MDF. But I don't remember it sort of just. It just seemed to appear, and I know there was people using basing, and the buildings were coming out as well. So I just thought, I don't know, it's a weird concept. It just seemed to appear from nowhere.
I'm gonna have to give my first yellow card of the day. Giroux, you're gonna get it. Sorry, mate. That's out of order.
Happy.
That's amazing.
That makes me incredibly happy.
Oh dear goodness. So it all started with bases, but I mean, looking at your website now, you've got buildings, obviously, you've got game specific stuff, you're doing acrylic stuff as well, aren't you? And even figures now.
Very cool carts, isn't it? Very cool.
The carts are awesome. I love the carts. So how did that, is it just a natural thing? You're trying to push MDF to its limits kind of thing?
Yeah. But like I said, we started with the bases, and then we had people asking for odd shapes, which lent to the laser cutters, and then from that, they wanted trays to put the bases in. And I can't really remember how we got onto buildings. But I know the first kit we ever produced was our little wooden outhouse. And it was very simple, very basic at the time. I don't really, I don't know if it was like a customer request, maybe. Martin's always been really good at coming up with mad ideas, and like you said, trying to push what you can do with MDF.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if it was maybe his suggestions, maybe one of his ideas, perhaps. But yeah, the buildings. We started with kind of some basic stuff. There was an outhouse and a sentry post, and I think at the time when we started doing it, the Very British Civil War rules were really big at the time.
Right.
So we had a lot of people asking about, people like Ian, you know. We had a lot of people kind of going, I want to do this, and can you do something like that? And you know, that was good. That was a single building, but then we used that as a base to build out. So like I think the Very British Civil War set of rules, we done a full red brick terrace range, which we now look back on. At the time, we thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And we look back at it now and we kind of cringe at it's quite clunky. And clunky's probably a good word for it. You know, they work and they're nice once they're painted, but if we were designing them now, we'd do them a bit different probably. But I think it's probably guys like Ian, people like that coming to us and, you know, how far can you push it? What can you do? And Martin, being a joiner, he's really good at being able to visualize in his mind what he's wanting to achieve, and being able to put it down onto a computer. You know, it was one of those snowball things.
Yeah.
You know.
So how does the process go about? Because I mean, one of the things I love about wall-based buildings, because I'm a cat-handed, I can't stick anything together. I'll stick pieces of wood to my nose when I'm doing things, and so but they have the right degree of sort of sophistication where they look good, but then they're not just an absolute nightmare to put together. I find even a fool like me can do it. An old fool, thank you, Steve, can put it together.
A veteran.
So how does the design work to do that? Because you've got to visualize it as flat pack, basically, haven't you? And then not make it too complicated, but people are going to be very critical if you don't make it look exactly as you say it's going to look like.
Yeah. If for example, if it's a customer that comes and speak to us, we'll usually ask them for some type of reference type material, whether they've got photos or drawings or something like that we can work from, or if they've a general idea in mind. And the drawing software that they use it's a 2D software, so it's very much trying to work on each elevation face. We generally use the same type of system for the corners, so the corners kind of almost deal with themselves.
Yeah.
That's a lift from a previous drawing put on and then build up on that. But it's about looking at each building from each face and how you can create it. Like I said, Martin's fantastic. He can look at a building, break it down, and realize what wants to go where. I've started picking up, doing some more of the design work, and I'm kind of starting to get there. But I'll take something to Martin and go, right. I've kind of hit a wall here.
Yeah.
and he'll take it on, and it's click of a fingers and it's done kind of thing. And I'm like, well, why was I struggling with that? But yeah, usually it's kind of reference material, photographs. Google Maps is amazing. Google Maps is amazing for that kind of thing. Yeah, a lot of the time it's customers and reference material for things they're looking for.
Awesome.
Kind of, yeah. Google reference material, photographs, that sort of thing. And then
works.
it's about splitting the building up and breaking it down, and
but that's the bit I find fascinating. I mean, I've got one sitting here on my desk at the moment. I'm going to launch into at some point. Yeah, surprise, it's a boxer one.
Yeah.
Glenn, let's just ask what's the time frame? So from initial sort of idea, sort of proof of concept type thing to fully done, how long does it depend on the complexity of the building? Or
some kits we can build it, we can design it, build it, run it, it fits together, and it's on the shelf. There's some of them we can go through 6, 7, 8, even 10 prototype stages, because you look at it and you fix something and then you find out something else, or you fix something and break something else. So yeah, from concept and starting to put something onto a drawing software to having a complete building, it really varies. A lot of it depends on time frame as well. So some of the stuff that I'll show you later on, I started designing back in April, when I got COVID in April and was working from home for a week, and had nothing to do except from design for a week, which was great. I think that 1 week gave me all of our year's worth of releases that we've done so far. So yeah, if I get time like that and I'm in the right frame of mind, I can fire through it loads. But it's going from the drawing to running it, to building it, to checking everything, to going back to the drawing, to fixing it, to running it again. Like I say, we can comfortably go through, on average, probably 4 or 5 prototype versions before we get to something. So, I mean, the other thing as well depends, because we don't just work on an individual building at a time. Right. We work on a range for release. So we don't want to kind of just have the website strewn with, you can get this amazing range and there's one kit.
Right.
We would much prefer to release, 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 kits, and then there's a proper release there, and there's proper kind of options and diversity in the buildings, rather than going, we've done one building. Because the next day you're going to be inundated with emails going, that's great, I bought it, I built it, I love it. When's the rest of them coming?
When's the next one coming? Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd say probably a lead time on anything like that could easily be 2 or 3 months. Again, it comes down to time of year as well. If we're running around at shows, we've got a couple of quieter spells through kind of June, July, and then December and January. So we try and do everything in that time for like the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
and then we'll drop releases through that time. So I think we've got scribbled on a whiteboard somewhere in work probably the next 4 or 5 ranges that we want to release, that we're working on at the moment. And they're all at varying ranges of being completely finished, photographs, everything's there to just go onto the website, to prototype version 1 of building 1. So yeah, I'd probably say a couple of months is probably the kind of ballpark time frame.
Right.
If we really get an itch on something and we're really on something, it could easily be under a month.
Right.
If it takes our fancy. I'm really big into my Western cowboy range stuff at the moment. And those buildings,
someone on commission doing that.
So yeah, the Western buildings are great because there's so much you can do in variation to them with just simple tweaks, which I think is why I think our base kit's now about 7 or 8 different variations, just through little things. So something like the Western range there, I can sit for a day and easily do 6 or 8 buildings. But some of the newer stuff that we've been doing, like the Border Reavers range that we released a couple of months back there, the new stuff that we're releasing for that's taken me quite a while to do. It's just, it really kind of does vary. Really does kind of vary, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Awesome. Listen, let's give Glenn a bit of a break from talking. There's some really good questions which we'll come back to from people in the audience, and we'll come back to those in a bit. But while you're having a bit of a break, Glenn, let's go around see what everyone's been up to the last a couple of weeks, really, with Crackcon. I guess we'll go to Ken because he's done nothing, I expect. Ken, you done anything? You're not even listening. Look. Oh,
you what? Sorry, mate.
I said we'll go around and see what everyone's been working on. Give Glenn a bit of a break.
Oh, okay. Well,
Nothing.
funny you should say that.
Is it more 4mm stuff?
No. Brave Romans to a man.
Ooh. Really? You've been painting Romans?
I've painted some Romans. So
mate.
This is my test. Martin might recognise these.
Do you know what? I am so happy you've done those because I've been sitting here scouring eBay, going, if he puts them on eBay, I'm going to kill him. I will kill him. Or that I will get them back as like a gift from you to like your best man. It's like, here's your models back that I want. I can't believe you won them. But no, they look fantastic. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah,
They're brilliant. Triarii. Lovely.
Yeah.
Really good job there.
Yeah, very happy with those. So
how did you find the transfers?
Piece of piss.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously easy. Just ridiculously easy. Once I've done the first one, that was a pain in the ass. But then it's just a case.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's good. I enjoyed it. That's my first test base. So that's my test base of how I want. Because they're going to be, because they're not Triarii, they're the Principes.
They're Principes, aren't they? Because they've got Pilum, I can see.
So they're those. But yeah, the Triarii, obviously, I'm going to do out of that kit as well. But the Hastati, I'm going to get I will come on to it in a minute. I'm not actually, I'll come on to it in a minute. Okay. Right.
Okay. Ooh, he's teasing us now.
Very mysterious.
Right. So the next thing I did.
What? 2 things?
I know, crazy. Look. So Hero
That's more
Quest.
than you've done in the entire year. What is going on?
I know, it's insane, isn't it? So I painted. So I did say Crackcon. I've got the mojo back for painting, and James Cuts came with me to Warhammer World. We went around the museum, and it was absolutely awesome. And it just got my painting mojo going. And I really want to play Hero Quest. So, and I want to play with it painted. So I've started painting it properly. So they're Barbarian I've done. The bases are 3D printed bases that I got. So yeah, I'm decanting them off the original bases and putting them on there.
You haven't used MDF Warbase ones. Good grief.
Well, if you look on my previous picture, you might recognise that base from somewhere.
Awesome.
So yes, that's Warbases. But I didn't stop there.
What? What's happened to Ken? Let's bring the real Ken back.
Ken, have you been drinking milk?
I painted some. I painted some fins.
Good God, you've been talking about doing a Finnish army longer than I think I've known you.
Does anyone recognise these miniatures? Can anyone recognise these minis?
No.
No.
No. No.
Not from that
Because you won't recognise. No. You won't recognise them because they're multi-part 3D printed ones that I've printed myself.
Ooh. What? You printed yourself?
Yes.
You got a printer again?
I certainly have.
Oh my
Did you get
God.
a resin printer?
Yes, I
Oh,
did.
it's gone
Have
completely
you spent one morning with James and you bought a 3D
Yes.
printing yeah, I knew it.
Oh, my God.
So I didn't stop there either.
Oh, for
So,
God's sake.
I decided to print out a machine gun. So basically, as Dom is aware, I had a 3D printer before.
He did.
It wasn't the best one for me to start with, I don't think. And the technology's come on leaps and bounds. So I've now vowed over the next 12 months, because Laura's aware of this, I'm not going to buy any more minis. If I'm going to paint anything, I'm going to print it.
Ooh.
So all my miniatures are now going to be 3D printed. And they're all going to be thingy. And I'm already in talks with a guy to design me some Starty and some other bits and bobs.
Ooh, very nice.
Ken,
So
do you know when we were away at Crackcon, you didn't bump your head, did you?
No, it's crazy, isn't it?
I think he's been swapped. I think the aliens have come down and probed him and sent somebody else.
But I didn't stop there.
Oh, for God's sake. We have to lengthen this sequence. This is ridiculous. What's going on?
Dom, your reputation's in tatters here, Dom. It
I
really is.
know. I'm frightened.
I know, it's crazy. Isn't
Genuinely
it?
frightened.
So I started printing a little epic army as well, which Steve will be happy with. So a Chaos Epic army.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't stop there. I printed some windy boats, the windy boat game, and they've all come out absolutely amazing. And do you know what I really love about 3D printing? There's no mold lines. It's so nice to not have to scrape all the mold lines off.
Which printer did you get?
I got the Elegoo Mars 3 Pro. It's a 4K resin printer.
So Louis Baby wants to know how well they fit together. Those
Excellent.
multi-parts.
Perfect. They're just as good as Warlord plastics. The resin I'm using has got a bit of flex in it as well, so it won't snap, but not too much. So there's enough like you would imagine of plastic. If I go back to that multi-part page, actually, that multi-part pick.
He has. It's definitely been taken over by somebody.
Yeah.
If I go back to that multi-part kit, basically the files cost me. They're in US dollars. So you see ones that have got heads on. They're monoposed parts that you just add weapons to. Those ones. The multi-part kit cost me $10 American, and that had 5 bodies, 5 different weapons, loads of ammo pouches. But I've also bought some extra heads for $1, and I bought another multi-part kit for the fins. So it gives me about 15, 20 different heads, 15, 20 different bodies for about $20. And each one of those minis in resin cost me 4 pence to make. And I have unlimited of them.
We've got to the bottom of this. It's actually because he's a bargain hunter that he loves all this. It's nothing to do with the figures or anything else. He's just looking for a bargain.
But I did. But in all fairness, they're absolutely beautiful, and you can't tell they're 3D printed. And that's what I've been waiting for in a 3D printer. You can't tell that they're 3D printed. Looks like I've just bought these from a manufacturer. That's what I wanted, and now the technology's there for that price.
Wow!
So loving it.
I just don't know what to say.
I know the day have come.
Just going to say, this is going to throw in all of our timings out for the podcast. We don't normally bet on him actually having anything to say. So
I know we're going to overrun by however much he's just given us here. Bloody hell, that's extraordinary. Well, well done. Welcome back to the world of painting
studio,
toys, and everything else. Well done, that man.
Yes,
awesome.
Thank you very much.
I'm pleased you got your mojo back. That's good.
Yeah,
he's got his gaming mojo back, and he's got his painting mojo back.
Yeah,
printing. How long is it going to last? Should do a poll in the chat. Anyway. Awesome.
Hang on, now divide the cost of the print. Yeah, the printer is the initial layout. To be fair, the printer's what was it?
Ken's gone from sniffing MDF to sniffing resin fumes.
No, I've got an extractor. I've got that. 265, I think it was the printer. Which, to be fair, but what you get is good.
To be fair, though, that is
initial investment. Initial investment, that's pretty decent. If I'm literally, like I said, going to print everything out.
I was going to say, if you're planning on printing for 12 months, everything you want to paint, that 265 is going to be. You're going to get more out of that than that initial outlay easily. easily.
Oh yeah,
Damn it, Ken, you've got me thinking now.
It's crazy, Steve, man. Honestly, you can't tell they're 3D prints, which that's what I've waited for so long.
Yeah.
It's the 4Ks. They do 8K now, which is double, which I just didn't see the point in because I'm looking at this Mini and I can't see the lines, and I haven't really done any settings. I've only just changed the exposure time a little bit with a calibration print.
Mhm.
So it's straightforward. All I did was get a calibration print it out. Okay, it's called like the cones of calibration. All right, those cones are not printed properly. Okay, so that means that I need to up the exposure time. So then I print it out again with a high exposure time. Okay, I need to up it a little bit more, and then it comes out perfect. Then you know it's done. And then I just print on those settings, and it's done. I don't get any fails. You will get fails, but I haven't had any like major catastrophe fails. So loving it.
Awesome. I'm genuinely pleased for you. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the real world, Ken. The real
You don't
world.
have to listen to bloody train talk or anything like that. I mean, actually have hobbies.
No, I know. I haven't been in the train. I haven't been in the hobby loft this week, which is sad. But I'm painting a windy boat at the moment.
Ken, can you 3D print a fiddle yard?
Probably could.
I was a bit worried when we was going on about exposure there, but anyway, never mind.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve? What you been up to, mate?
It should come as no surprise. I've been painting Deutsche Africa Core again.
Surprise. Yes.
No surprise. I'm actually taking a break for a week. I'm painting something else, which I'm not talking about. So, first off, I was talking about the LEIG 18 light artillery piece. So I've got that one from the Blitzkrieg box. So I had to kit bash some crew for it because the metal ones were a bit crap, if I'm being completely honest. And I hate metal figures anyway. So, first of all, I did this. Doo-doo!
Oh, nice, Steve.
They're lovely.
So all plastics. Even the guy at the head with the bandage is from the British Airborne box. That kit was an utter pig to put together. Absolutely terrible kit to put together. It just didn't want to stay glued. It really didn't.
I remember I've put two of them together before now, and they look so simple. They're just long, don't they? There's only about, I don't know, there's not many parts to them.
No,
hell, they hard work to put together.
That's cool.
And so, do you know the bits with the you're meant to have like firing mechanisms and optics and stuff? Yeah, I lost all them. I dropped a paintbrush and two of them flew off into the carpet, never to be seen again. So
okay.
I've done my best to try and sort of make it so you can't. They don't need to be there anyway.
Do you want me to print you some, Steve?
No, I'm all right. Do you know what? I appreciate your consideration there, Ken, but I'm never making one of these kits ever again. But the actual crew were brilliant to put together. They're from the Deutsche Africa Corps infantry box and also the Blitzkrieg box. And I said a bit of British Airborne with that head, and even the shell that he's holding is from a British 6-pounder, I think. So even the shell's wrong, but I don't care. So then when we got back from Crackcon, I decided to do a bit more painting. And I built something I didn't actually need to build, which was a forward observation officer, which is this one here. Because the radio set is from the DAC set that the Perrys do. And I'm not going to use the Perrys ones because they're so out of scale with the with the Warlord ones. So I've got a bunch of them left over. So all I did was I had just with the handset and the cable, so I sort of kit bashed that together, and then I did my HQ section, which is a Hauptmann. But yeah, really enjoying the DAC.
Does that mean if you're doing a forward observer that you're going to start doing EA O group in 28mm or something?
No, that would be. Don't give me ideas, Dom. Don't give me ideas. I'm still doing my 15mm Germans. But there's a nice group shot of all the support options so far.
They look fantastic.
Which is my medium mortar, my light artillery piece, HQ, and my FOO. Yeah, just nice. When you find a paint scheme that just works, this just works. But like I said, I'm having a week off painting DAC because I don't want to get bored.
Doing a special project.
So I'm doing something really very, very, very different than. No, I'm doing something completely different that I don't think anyone would expect me to be doing. So, but I'm enjoying
French
it.
drummer, is it?
No, it's not a French drummer. No. No.
Glenn's little smirk there.
Even with the application of Toilet, Duck, and Vimto, I'm not going to be making. I'm not going to work any French drummers because they're bloody terrible. But that's what I'm up to. So like I say, a bit of a break from Bolt Action for a while. I'm spending a week on because the new project's quite a small one. It shouldn't take too long, and it's a bit.
Just love teasing us.
I know. I don't know. It's not big at all. But it is a game system. There, I said that. I said close. Okay. I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't want to say to that one.
I don't know what to say to that. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Bolt Action,
awesome.
And now my left field project, as it were.
What about you, Martin? You've been annoying the hell out of me all week by showing off those lovely Victrix figures you're painting.
Why is that annoying you?
Because I've got a whole load of metal ones behind me that I really want to paint. And
it's not like it's a problem for you to paint multiple figures, is it?
True, I suppose.
So if you're on the Facebook group, then yes, you'll have seen that I've been painting the recent late Roman infantry by Victrix, which I'm doing up as Arthurians. So I finished these guys. Which are just quite frankly, they're lovely to paint and lovely to put together. And there's loads of character, and they've derailed my what I was trying to do slightly because I can't stop doing them at the moment. But no, they're brilliant. And then obviously we talked about it before I found out that Little Big Men Studios did the banners based on the Warlord Chronicles that Bernard Cornwell wrote. So that had to happen. So I got that set. So that's even, that's just fun for me. But no, they are really, really nice to paint. And yeah, they're just I've basically said that I won't post any more pictures in the group for a while because I think I've spammed quite a few pictures in there because I've just been having so much fun. But they also sent me which I didn't realize at the time because I thought it was just one of the frames, but it's actually from the Archers and Slingers
the
set.
New
And
set.
Yes, I did because they'd sandwiched it between two things, and I just thought, it's the same sprue, and it's not. And it's got like these guys on, like the Staff Slingers, and this might possibly be my favorite miniature of this year. I love this miniature. I don't know why. It's just because it's simple with a decent level of detail, and it's just fun. And it was a good laugh to paint, so I enjoyed doing that. And
That's
then
awesome. I just love the idea of what he's thinking in his mind about what he's gonna.
I think he's thinking this is going to go one of two ways. So on top of that, I finished 2 more bases of Zulus, just to keep adding to the Zulu forces.
How many are you doing?
I'm not going to say it.
Thousands of them.
Ken will say it. And then over on I don't know. I just tried to, just do some different things on the bases. So I decided to actually have a couple of people that have been mown down by volley while their friend kind of just looks at them. Just trying to keep things.
Was it just being
different.
Shot in the back of the head by the guy with the gun who doesn't quite know what to do with it?
I like the idea of the guy. Probably doesn't actually quite know what to do with it at this point if you're going for the early stuff. And then finally, people might have seen if you're on the Facebook group, which, by the way, if you want to join, the link's down below. I don't know if Dom's mentioned that. I got ratted out by my wife, didn't I? This week because some transfers arrived, which I did pay for. I hasten to add, like I paid for them. I might as well show you. So at Crackcon, I picked up the fire.
We thought you were a celebrity, mate.
I hang around with. I hang around with you too much, so that's never going to happen. And so that's my first test Byzantine model.
Lovely.
From
Nice.
From the Deus Vault, which it is nice. I just the spear's kind of big, but I think
it looks like a telegraph pole. To be fair,
I think when they're all together, it'll be absolutely fine. But what's quite cool is these are size pretty much the same as Victrix. So all the spare heads that I've got through loads of Victrix bare head sets, I'm just going to mix in and just try and get some interesting stuff to get a nice mixed Crusader army. So that's my. There you go. That's my quick week. Oh yeah, and then a whole bunch of stuff to do with editing and all that kind of stuff. There you go. That's my week or 2 weeks.
You tried to land me in it, and that wasn't good. I'm getting enough trouble, thank you, with your wife.
What did you?
You tried.
She didn't believe me for 1 second, so I wouldn't worry about it.
So for me, well, it won't surprise anybody because you may have seen the videos I've put up. It's more Boxer Rebellion, just more Boxer Rebellion, really. So I did some Indians, just joined the coalition forces. I really enjoyed doing. They're good fun to do. They're the artisan minis, kind of fun.
Very nice.
And then some Japanese. They're Empress, which I'd completely forgotten they were Empress, but they are Empress.
Oh, nice.
And, this thing I just love. Dragon Cannon. Absolutely fantastic. Love it.
That's
love
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It's good fun. It's really good fun. And then I did loads more boxes because you can never have too many boxes, can you? There's loads and loads of them. They did all see the table last week. So if you saw the game, I put it up on Sunday. Many will be king still, but I'm still not sure about those rules. But they do look good on the table en masse.
Dom, that looked like a really nice set. I don't know the rule set, so I couldn't really appreciate whether it's good or bad or not. But no, it was an interesting game. Let's put it that way.
It was fairly brutal, but then I think Menu Will Be King is very, very brutal.
Is that your game of Jono?
Yeah. I had to try and edit out your voice because you were in the game beside me, which was hard work, especially when you came and leered at the camera at one point. That was quite disturbing. I thought that, okay, this is for children, this channel. And then I did, these are lovely figures. I really enjoyed doing these. These are Casting Company, I think. Casting, the Foundry lot. And they are ex-soldiers, ex-veterans. The guy on the right's got one arm, which I thought these would be perfect for sort of when I want to have sort of locals fighting against the boxers. So I've got some of those and some other sort of armed civilians that I'm going to mix in with them. So I thought that'd be great. And then just in honor of our guest tonight, I did a Chinese well and another one of the buildings. So because the 55 days in Peking range from Warbases is awesome. In fact, you can see at the back there's quite a few of them. I've now got about 5 or 6 of them. And I love doing them. They're really good fun to put together. So there you go. That's what I've been up to. More boxes. Thousands of them. No, the wrong one. It's the wrong one. So anyway, I'm not even going to. Some of the questions in here is ridiculous. Let me go back and find some of the questions. So Glenn, appreciate sitting through all that creativity.
They weren't expecting me to do so much. To be fair,
I know that blew it completely.
Yeah, you put a curveball in there, haven't you?
Yeah.
I pissed on their parade, putting it bluntly.
You did. So let's go back. Alex asked a question earlier. What inspires new ideas? And you mentioned customers often generate it, but I mean, there must be a lot of stuff you guys come up with yourselves.
Yeah. Gaps in the market or gaps in our own ranges. We try and keep an eye on what other companies are doing, and not MDF companies, but figure companies.
Right.
So kind of companies like Warlord, Footsore, those kind of guys, see what they're working on or where they're going. The other thing as well is what rule sets are coming out, or Osprey are a good one because they give you their next 3 months worth of releases.
Right.
So we keep an eye on things like that. Sometimes it's also kind of what's popular in the market or what's kind of picked back up again. I know that with the plastic box sets, Dead Man's Hands it's come back round again. So we've spent a lot of time this year working on our Cactus Creek Western range. So that came out at the start of the year, and we more than doubled the range at the time. So yeah, a lot of it's market and stuff like that.
Do you get tip-offs from some of the companies saying we're about to launch something new, and
not so much. Living up,
work.
yeah, living up here in Dreich, Scotland, you sometimes get left out the loop.
I don't know. Ian was trying to tell us. Ian from Flags of War was telling us that Scotland's the new Nottingham for wargaming. That's what he told us.
I'm not overly convinced about that, but you know, if it is, that's fantastic news for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it kind of comes down to kind of like what's going on in the market, what other companies are up to. Sometimes it's some things that take our own fancy. And then, you know, we have a close working relationship with the guys at Two Fat Lardies. So we always have an inside scoop on what they guys are working on. So,
Go on, tell us.
no, Richard will have me strung up tomorrow if I tell you.
Got to be a bit subtler, Ken. Come on.
But yeah, no, kind of, you know, we do speak to a few people, and we do have a general idea of stuff that's going on. You know, you see guys at shows and you have a chat with them, and you know, there is a little bit of that, but sometimes it's just what we fancy doing at that time. I watched the Hobbit movies probably about this time last year, and then fancied doing Lake Town in MDF. And that was where our Loch Vale range came from. So that was where that came about. I'm probably going to get slaughtered in the comments for how I pronounce that, but you know, that's my how I read it on Google and try and pronounce it. But, yeah, no,
I'm not suggesting really anything, but basis for the Windy Boat game in acrylic. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we've got the acrylic range, and we can custom cut anything, any size for stuff like that. So
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Superb.
There you go. There's about a 10p order coming your way, Glenn. Actually, you'll probably try and do some sort of discount. Yeah. So another question was, what would you say is the most difficult building you've had to do?
Oh, most difficult. I don't really know. I mean, I'm looking at one of them, but that's still not quite complete yet, so I can't really tell you that one. But trying to get I don't think there's necessarily one specific building, but there's always been aspects of individual kits that trying to get the curved roof on the Chinese buildings, trying to achieve that in MDF, and we went round and round the houses, and in the end, I know, Dom, you've got some of our kits, so you'll see them. We've ended up with the card sheet instead. We tried our best to try and create something in MDF that didn't look clunky, and in the end, everything that we came up with was clunky, bitty, looked nice, but then was a pig to put together. And if we don't like building a kit, we don't want our customers to be like that, because if we don't enjoy it, our customers aren't going to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, there's aspects.
I thought that the way the roofs go together there are really quite clever, because you've done the sort of individual MDF strats. And they kind of form the shape quite nicely. And as you say, then you just have to hold the cardboard down. But painting is fine. Works really well. I only stuck myself together about 5 times doing it. It was absolutely brilliant. No problem. That's actually good for me. What does me in is every time I've been doing a building, doesn't matter which one it is, then my touch thing on the smartphone won't work because I've got glue all over the flipping fingerprint. For about a fortnight, I can't do anything. Sorry, if you could hear the fireworks going off, I think they're all celebrating the new Prime Minister. Either that or Diwali. I'm not quite sure which. You were looking up, Ken. I think there's fireworks going off in my around
Oh,
one of
right.
our neighbours here.
Celebrating the new Prime Minister. Dear God, man.
Yeah. No,
Let's leave that
Diwali.
one. Let's leave
Diwali,
that
I
one
think it is tonight, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah. So yeah. Leslie also wants to know: do you prototype on a different machine to the production machines?
So yes and no. Last year we took on the unit next door to us, which came with a shop.
Mm-hmm.
So Martin moved out of the home office into that space. So he's got his shop area, but he's also got a workshop on the back. So there's 3 machines in there with him that he predominantly uses for custom work and for prototypes. Once the drawing's finished, we're happy with it, everything's good to go to a sale point of view. They go onto all of the machines. So at that point, we put them through onto all 9. But the old workshop that we've still got that we're in, that's where all the production's predominantly done. So I suppose yes and no in a way. Martin has one machine that's his baby and nobody else is allowed to touch it. So that's where the majority of kind of the prototyping kind of comes in through that one, and then production will go through any of the other machines that we've got. So I suppose probably we probably we've not meant to, but yeah, we have ended up with that kind of a process.
Awesome. So I'm just going back through some of the questions. Benjamin was asking about shipping outside of the UK.
We still ship anywhere, everywhere.
How much do you ship on a weekly basis, roughly?
Thousands of them.
We attempted one day to try and count individual bases on how much we ship, and we gave up with that very quickly. It varies. We see trends through days, through weeks, through months.
Right.
That third week of the month where you're the furthest from your paycheck, tends to be where we're the quietest or the quieter.
That's the design week for you guys.
Yeah, that's the week where we really try and we're a wee bit quieter this week. Let's try and hammer through some new design work, some whether it's admin, updating the website, stuff like that. But in terms of kind of on average, we'll maybe ship somewhere between 80 and 100 kilos worth a week, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. During COVID and then after COVID, with the proper lockdown back in 2020, there was some weeks we were shipping nearly double that. It's kind of slowed back down. I think that's probably in part with the inclusion of shows again. Mm-hmm. We were taking probably as much through the website and shows now as what we were straight out of lockdown. So kind of on average somewhere 80 and 100 kilos maybe a week. It can vary.
You guys did a really nice thing, to be fair, when lockdown hit and money was tight. You were just sending people bases for free, weren't you? Just asking them to pay the postage.
Yeah,
that was a really nice.
That was a nice touch. Yeah,
we done that, and then we've started doing that every January now. We haven't actually discussed yet if we're going to do it, or we're going to maybe try and tweak it around. But we know January, post Christmas, New Year, it can be a bit funny. It's a bit of a funny time for people. Christmas can be expensive, or people don't have a lot of people around them at Christmas. And sometimes their hobby is their safe space or their happy place. Mm-hmm. It's somewhere that can shut off for an hour or two and paint a figure. And it's only a little thing, but we done it where we were giving away up to X number of free bases or up to a certain amount of weight. And I think the first year, I don't think we charged postage, and I think we had 250 people take it up at the time. Really, it's not a big thing for us. Like, a couple of bases is a couple of bases. But for someone, if that's what gives them their hobby mojo back, or whatever, if that's something that helps them, we were really happy to do it. If it helps people,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was a really nice touch. I have to say, a really good thing. It's as you say, I think a lot of people find this hobby just escapism from all the stuff they have to deal with, and that's why this stream started. To be honest, that's why we
it did, didn't it? Yeah, to escape from the real shit. But exactly, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. I think Gary's asked a question. We sort of already covered this one, but do you take a lead from game figure releases industry? He said, you kind of do.
Yeah, we do have a look at that. We do kind of we do kind of keep an eye on the market. My Facebook feed is just full of war games companies and what they're up to, and war games groups, what they're up to, what they're doing, what's coming out. There's a rumor about this, there's a rumor about that. So yeah, we do try and keep a lot on top of things, and I think doing the trade shows and stuff like that helps us a lot as well. Being on the circuit, there's a lot of times the likes of guys the Partisan show. A lot of guys stay in the same hotel on the Saturday night, so we sit and have a drink with them guys, and you get a couple of drinks in people, and they get a bit loose lips. It's great,
It's a marketing tout for you when you're down there. You're like, oh, let's do a bit of market research.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sat with the phone under the table, just taking notes on everything.
Note to self: get Glenn drunk, and we can find out what's really going on in the industry. Fantastic, awesome, that's brilliant. I'm intrigued. Actually, should we have a break and do some news, and then give Glenn a little bit more of a break, because there's a load of news and plus stuff that Glenn shared, so we can talk through some of that as well. So, I don't know, Martin, do you want to?
Well, I did, and I was well proud of myself, right? Because I went out and I hunted and I got news, and then I looked, and you uploaded every single one. Every single one. But the only one, so I've got one that you didn't do. And I'm going to put it up because I know there's a couple of Flames of War people, and I played this in the past, but they've got their new Firestorm campaign coming up for Market Garden,
awesome.
which is where you actually
we did that 2 weeks ago, dude.
Right?
We did it 2 weeks ago.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
They've got their new box. They've got their new box. It's only just been
I'm pointing him up. Don't worry.
There, I've muted him. Yeah. So that's the one where you actually get in the map, and you move your forces around, and it's designed to be played, through, like actually at a club, and you can have. I think you have about 10, 12 players. I think don't quote me on that, but I just seem to vaguely remember that. So you could play through a club, but I guess it's nothing to. If you wanted to use O Group or something, you could use the map mechanics and everything to move your armies, and then resolve the actual games with whatever your preferred system is, be that Flames of War or even Bolt Action or whatever. So anyway, that's about to come out. So that's the one thing that I had, because
I'll let you talk about this one.
Which one? Oh God, yeah, I've been chatting to him about these. So yeah, they're lovely. So these are the knightly or early Templars, aren't they?
Early Templars,
early Templars and Sergeants. They are very, very nice. I like it how he said he'd done a few.
Yes.
This is
again a guy from what are they called now? I always get the name wrong because they've changed
Reconquer.
the name.
It's Macross from Reconquer.
Macross, yeah, just awesome. So this is November's release, I believe, isn't it? I think.
Yep. Yes, it is.
What I did love, he does so much research into what he's doing that he was going on about. He was so proud of them, and he said he's got to redesign the men at arms because they're or the sergeants because apparently they weren't allowed to wear chainmail.
Yeah. So now, he's gone back and scrubbed it. I was asking him about something else he was working on because he did the traction trebuchet. And I suppose I can't actually say what it is. He's not released it, but he's basically finding ways to reuse those historical models for other means. So he's got the dollies for multiple things. I don't think that's giving anything away. Okay.
I think you don't need to get you drunk. You just blabber whatever's going. I got Never Mind the Bill Hooks Deluxe.
Oh yes, the expanded one.
The expanded one. So this is pre-order next month, I think it says. Yep.
Yeah, it is, and then it ships out into November, I think.
Yeah, I
through
believe
North
so.
Star.
I know people are going to get very excited. I love that picture on the front cover. That's just awesome.
It is very cool. It is very cool.
Nice.
I don't know. I think that might be the Battle of Nancy. I have a funny feeling, which didn't go too well from the guys that are charging.
I would imagine it wouldn't go too well for the charging into all those billmen ready to receive them.
But they've expanded it, so it covers Europe. I think there's actually 6. I think it's 6 settings for it, 6 different theaters, if you like. Not just Wars of the Roses. So I think it's now making itself more of a late medieval rule set. But again, he's stressed that it's not meant to be an accurate simulation of the Wars of the Roses or the Burgundian Wars or anything like that. It's literally a small battle skirmish game with a Wars of the Roses skin and a Burgundian Wars skin on it, so you can still have all the have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose we should talk about Bloody Miniatures Wave 5 that's coming, which is all the Scottish figures.
Yep.
I don't think I picked them all up, but there's some lovely shots.
They are very cool. Very.
Some of them are
nice.
remodels from the originals, aren't they? But some are completely new. Lovely. You going to be buying them, Martin?
Yes, the Scottish ones. Yes, I will be. Actually, to be fair, I'm going to be buying all of them, so I don't know. Now, I can't remember who it was that I saw had painted them up as the Three Musketeers, and now I really want to do that. And after playing that game with Paul at Crackcon at Pulp Alley, I really want to do a Three Musketeers style adventures across the board. I think they would be perfect.
Awesome, wouldn't it? Awesome. What else? I put this up on the Facebook page because I just thought these were just amazingly good. Claymore do some truly superb figures, and this is they're some way off. I think he said they're not going to be out for a little while, but these horseholder guys just brilliant, just brilliant. Love the design. They're getting better and better. What else? We had Perry's Danish cavalry, Napoleonic cavalry.
Blimey, O'Reilly.
Lovely. I know that will get some of our viewers some more. What are they? Prussian. I've forgotten the regiment now, but more of them. I've forgotten. I can't even remember. Anyway, never mind. Eagles of Empire. The Franco-Prussians. He's got a Kickstarter running now for a whole load more French figures, which I think from the Republic period of the war. So once the Emperor was thrown out, the Republic came in, and there's a whole series of figures for that, which look good. I know a number of people, Matt being one, loves his Eagles of Empire figures, as do I. They're lovely figures, really nice. So that's going at the moment. And our friends at Piano Miniatures, just awesome. He's now working on Bavarians. I mean, yeah, just what can you say? They're just fantastic, absolutely fantastic figures. Also, VMV have brought out a new range of Arabs.
Yes, they've already got some Arabs, and they've just gone back and added command groups and archers I think. Yes,
stuff. So you can get them from our mate Mezza's Mini. He's got all these figures, so if you want to check him out. I think he's also got a Black Friday. Well, he's not a Black November sale as Mezza's Mini, so check him out all November. Lots of extra discount on his stuff. What else? See? Oh, there's another Kickstarter which got me excited. Great Escape Games.
Oh yeah,
are launching a range of 28mm Norwegian Second World War figures next month. I was only saying I wanted 15 mil, but these are 28 mil. But they do look nice, and I do like Great Escape figures. They're lovely, lovely models. And I've just got rid of all my 12 mil Victrix, but they just launched the Panzer IV range, so you got Fs and Gs available, and they are really nice models. I only got rid of them because I decided to focus on 15 mil rather than 12 mil. So, but they are very, very nice indeed. And Glenn, you sent us some pictures of some of the stuff that you're working on at the moment. So let me pop this one up. So this was, well, I'll let you talk about them, what they are.
Yeah, so the first two pictures that we'll show you, they're a rework on our Border Reaver range. So the original range was with stone etch work, but we've had a few people asking about putting brick on instead. So I think it's the original 10 kits have all been reworked to include brick etch work instead of the stone etch work. But we've left the roof tiles as they were before, to give that kind of, it's a slate effect, I suppose. So yeah, we've done a rework on both of those.
So that's the other one.
So that's the other one there, yeah. So that's the single story. The other one was the 2-story version of the same base kit. But yeah, we've kind of, we had people looking for them with brickwork on, and again, they're really nice, really generic kits that can do for a load of different settings.
You could use them in any pretty much any period, couldn't you? Really, I mean, it doesn't have to be a Border Reaver.
Yeah, the idea with the stonework was predominantly for the Border Reaver range, but the idea being that a stone cottage is a stone cottage. And you can see them for very British Civil War. You could see them any of your World War II amphitheatres, really. So we did try and do them as generic as possible. But like I said, we had some people asking about whether or not, Ian.
Ian.
Ian, yeah.
Ian.
But yeah, we had a few folk asking for them in brickwork instead. You know, and an amendment like that's not too bad. I think I managed to get most of those done in about a half day.
Yeah.
I think it probably took me longer to build them, photo them, and get all the labels done than it did to actually do the drawings, because I know that the base kit works. I don't have to go through a prototyping stage for it. So when I'm doing stuff like that, that makes it a lot quicker for time frame wise to get that thing.
And this is Percy Tower, is it?
Percy's Tower. So this is the new stuff. So the brick buildings and these next two are both going to come out next month. And I think we've got another, I think it's 6 or 7 kits to add into the Border Reaver range, which will all again be stonework. Some of them might get reworked for brickwork again, but initially it'll be with the stone etch work on them. So
and that one as well. The other one of orders, yeah.
So that one there, that was taken from a base kit from 2 of the original range. So it's I think it's the care house and the little cottage, and we've elevated the care house and added the steps onto the front.
Got you.
The back side of that is just plain stone etch work on it. There's no doors or windows or anything like that. But
that, as you say, that wouldn't look out of place even in a Normandy's type setting, would it? Really? I mean,
yeah, that was kind of in part the idea. Trying to come up with a few generic type buildings that will do across a number of periods, eras, genres. But yeah, they're the kind of thing that you can go from Border Reavers all the way up through to even modern day stuff. the kind of thing, I'll say modern day, your World War II with your new 0200 hours rules.
Mhm.
If you're doing, I don't know, some sort of a siege on a farmhouse or something like that, the stone etch work on the kits,
Yeah.
Things like the Percy's Tower, they are a bit more focused on.
But even then, you could use that in a medieval setting or fantasy kind of setting quite easily, couldn't you? As well, it's not.
Yeah, you're not tied down to that just being purely for border reavers.
No. And then a couple of different period entirely.
Total gear change there. In December, we're going to be releasing. We're calling them a range of Mexican buildings, but really they're kind of Spanish colonial buildings. But we can probably get away with them for kind of the Middle East as well. So I think again that's a range of somewhere between 8 and 10 kits again. There's a single-story house. There's a two-story house. There's ones with yards on the back and the staircases up the side, and then that one there is it's a shop with the big front window on it. So again, we tried with that range there to again make them generic enough that they'll suit multiple theaters. So again, anything from the Alamo up to World War II, that kind of thing. For North Africa, for example. We've tried to start kind of doing that with a lot of the building releases at the moment. Is not shoehorning them into this is only for this range or this era. And then people can take it and they can kind of do what they want to do with it as well.
Absolutely. Actually, Tim makes a good point. So pretty much everything you do is 28 mil, isn't it? Do you ever do anything in smaller scales?
Our primary focus is on 28. I think that's a lot to do with the material. Obviously, the more you downscale, the material can't. So where we see it is our biggest market is in 28 millimeter. We have in the past done 15 mil and 20 mil, but if we do something in 15, 20, and 28, the majority of the sales will come through at 28. So that's kind of where we start. We start at 28 at a base. It isn't, unfortunately, the drawing software we use, it isn't a case of click and drag and downscale. We effectively have to start from scratch and completely redraw a drawing. And
I guess where the sort of grooves and things click together, it becomes a much harder, because they become too small then and probably break very easily, I would imagine.
I mean, it's at that, like I said, the material thickness typically standard for us is 2 mil, so it's a lot of work for us to work on those grooves to get them, even just something as simple as the corners to fit. 15s and 28s, we do occasionally do bits and pieces, but it kind of depends on where the market is. The Mexican Spanish buildings have been done as we're working with someone who's releasing kind of Mexican cowboys probably before the end of this year.
Interesting.
And they will be available through us as well. So we've not quite gone too far yet with announcing that, but that's probably going to be in the next 4 or 5 weeks. We'll do that, which will probably kind of coincide in the time with us releasing the buildings, probably middle of December.
Awesome.
Keep an eye on Warbases.
Yeah.
The way things are going, definitely.
You just to actually say, because you guys are quite active on social media as well, aren't you? Because you have Facebook, Instagram,
Yep,
Twitter.
Yeah, it's all connected through my phone, so it just constantly goes off. So yeah, I deal with all the social media side of things, and especially through COVID lockdown, not having shows, the front page of the website and social media was the only means of contact with customers. Not being able to go to a show and see 2, 4, 6, 800 people. We had to use social media, so we do try and stay on it. We do try and post up almost daily. I quite often get home from work and then go, I meant to do that on social media. I'll do it after my tea. And then I'm sat watching telly and I'll do it tomorrow instead. but yeah, we do try and stay on social media as much as we can. It's the easiest way at the moment for us to communicate with customers.
Absolutely.
Whilst we can't on a face-to-face basis all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Little Legions asks, are there any more full color templates in the pipelines, roads, rivers, etc.?
Yes. We do need to pick that back up. We have a long list of stuff we want to do. It keeps growing. We need to go and speak to the guy that done the artwork on the first couple of bits. But yeah, roads, rivers, we've done the ponds, things like trees, rocky outcrops, that sort of thing. We started doing those for people that don't have an awful lot of space to game. Where with ponds or that sort of thing, you know, especially with trees, you've got the height. For people that are maybe constrained on space, we started doing that, and the pond bases in particular, the response that we had on those was phenomenal. And then the Wargame Soldiers and Strategies done a review in this month's, I think it was this month, start of this month, I think. And again, they went through the roof again. So yeah, the full color stuff, there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline, but I don't know how that line's going to be. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get there. And then, you know, we've got a lot of stuff that we want to do, we want to achieve with that. So yeah, that's a big one for us. We're really enjoying working on that stuff at the moment.
Yeah, that's cool. Also, what have we got? Studio Guru, even after his yellow cars, he said, "Step to display shelves for IKEA is definite." Yeah, to mention to your dad. Apparently, he goes around and have cups of coffee around at your factory. So he told us.
Since we got the shop, Guru's one of the guys that comes around every now and again. Yeah, he's a cracking lad. Yeah, I'll kick his ass when I'm finished on here tonight and see what he's see what he's saying, and it'll be I'll get round to it eventually.
Yeah, so intriguing. So it all started with bases, and now you're doing buildings and accessories and game-specific things, tokens, acrylics. Yeah. Is there any where next? Where's it going to go next? Do you think?
Well, I mean, we've got a couple of figure lines there that we've now working on as well. We actually advertised for a sculptor to start helping us with bits and pieces, and ended up buying Commando miniatures, which wasn't quite what we were planning, but you know, it got offered up to us, and we snapped it up. So we've got that range of post World War II British conflict stuff, and then Martin, being a big D&D buff back in the days, always wanted his own fantasy figure range, and that's where Bifrost Miniatures came in.
Right.
Unfortunately, we were going to release it at Salute in 2020. Yeah,
Salute never happened.
yeah, big plans, big release, all that. We'd done promo, advertising, flyers and orders and adverts in magazines, and we got egg on our face, unfortunately. So yeah, we've got that range, which now that we're back in shows and everyone can see it, it's going really well. So we got some pictures yesterday actually from our sculptor who's working on some more stuff for us. So there'll be new stuff coming out for that. And then it's more stuff with the full color tokens. You know, that line's endless. I mean, we just released, we just released another, is it 8 sets of army specifics for Chain of Command last week, to include some of the airborne. There was the airborne, the DAC, Desert Rats, Chindits. So yeah, you know, working on more bits like that. We have spoken to a few companies, but unfortunately, we've been told by a couple of people that we can't produce tokens for their rules, or you know, any issues with copywriting and stuff like that. So we've kind of, we're very carefully treading water on that one and not stepping on anyone's toes at the same time. But again, the Chain of Command stuff, because we've got that relationship with the guys at Two Fat Lardies, Richard says, yeah, whatever, and we keep on going.
Yeah, I guess that hadn't really occurred to me, but yeah, you could. I guess you do have to tread a little bit carefully with some of the games and some of the tokens. Yeah.
You know, we have to be careful, even with things like our bases. We no longer sell Flames of War bases. We sell Flames of War styled bases.
Right.
Because we got a little email with just a subtle, be careful with what you're saying here, guys. You know, so yeah, we do have to be careful with stuff like that. We don't want to upset anybody, and we've got good, strong working relationships with a lot of people across the hobby. So it's maintaining those nice, strong relationships. So yeah, we don't try and tend to do anything without seeking permission first. But you know, the color tokens is something that we want to do, but we have to be careful with game specific stuff.
Yeah.
We would more likely have to do generic stuff that's similar but not the same.
No, understood. But I think historical tends to be a bit more forgiving of that kind of stuff anyway, doesn't it? It's not quite so as a whole. It's a gross generalization, I know, but
you had to get it in there, didn't you? You had to get it in there,
anyway. Yeah. I'm not referring to anybody, obviously. No, awesome. What about 3D printing? Is that something you guys are going to look at?
So yeah, we have 3 3D printers. We work with a digital sculptor for some of the Bifrost stuff. So we have a traditional green stuff caster, but we also have a 3D guy as well.
Right.
So yeah, in terms of 3D printing, we use that, but we still end up metal casting those figures. We use that as a master's process in the production of figures. We have all our metal casting facilities in house. We have our own machine that does that, so we're not reliant on external companies doing that for us. So yeah, we got a machine off the guys at Pendraken probably about 8 or 9 years ago now, and we do all that in house. That was right from when we first started doing our animals range. We sat down and we costed up the cost of a machine versus the long-term cost of someone doing it for us, and very quickly realized that we'd be better to do it in house, and we had the space and the means to do it. So we do all the metal casting in house, but 3D design work, we have a couple of guys that does that for us, and then we 3D print and clean ourselves.
Cool. Kevin's concerned. He says, "Will you give Kevin a production job? He's got a 3D printer." He'd probably end up flogging half of it. Awesome. It's interesting. Is there any sort of, I guess, is there any sort of direction you just would love to go with MDF, particularly, but you just think just isn't capable? There isn't the sort of technology to do it yet, or the material just doesn't lend itself to it?
We have something that we're working on, which will get released next year.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much, but it's an exciting project. Up until about a year to 18 months ago, we never considered being able to do it. I'm not 100% sure on timeline wise, but we're probably going to be talking April, so salute kind of release time. But yeah, there's something there that we're really, really excited about, but I don't want to. He'll come upstairs and he'll come upstairs and give me a hiding in a minute.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see, one other question here. Oh, this was Alex's question earlier. He said, do you cut to order or do you have big stocks? What's the most popular thing?
So what you would normally come and see off our stand at a show, we tend to have on the shelf.
Right.
That's in part being that it's our more popular products. Tends to be what's selling at that time, but also helps us doing replen for shows as well, especially if we're bouncing from one show to another weekend after weekend. But a lot of time it's really unpredictable what people will order. You'll have a kit that hasn't sold in 6 months, and then you'll get 2 orders in 2 days for the same thing. So a lot of the time, a lot of the cutting is to order. Things like a lot of our movement trays, because we've just got so much variation. We'd need a Amazon warehouse to be able to stock it all, and you'd go through all that time to produce it, to put it on a shelf, and it would just gather dust. So things like a lot of our movement trays, even a lot of our bases are cut to order, just because there's such a wide variety of sizes, shapes, different variations. So in the main, we try and keep as much stock on the shelves as we can, which makes it easier for us. But a lot of the time, it is cut to order stuff.
Hey, at least the customer gets that new MDF smell, don't they?
Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah.
Don't keep rubbing it in. Poor old Glenn can't smell it. Awesome. All right, fabulous. Let's give Glenn a little bit. We're coming towards the end of our show, so let's have a look at some of the punters' pictures. Did you like that, Ken? Punters' pictures.
Punters' pictures.
It did. It made you sound very East End.
Me, East End of Surrey, maybe. So yeah, reminders. Every week we try and show some pictures from some of people who put. I was going to say punters again. Some of the people who put them up on the Facebook page. Is just a selection. If you're not a member of the Facebook page, please be, because I don't know how many we're up to now, but it's a lovely community, and everyone's showing off their work and what they're up to and all the different things. And
Dom, have you noticed that Weird Beers is slowly creeping into the Facebook group? I've
noticed it's weird. It's creeping into my fridge. And do you know what? I actually picked that Elvis beer up on Saturday,
yes.
and it was actually really tasty.
It's lovely.
That was just punk IPA. That was one of theirs, wasn't it?
It was.
That was one of their beers. All right. You should try beating that hairy beer I've just tried. I can feel the static grass in my throat.
Hairy beer. I don't think that's going to catch. That will not catch on, mate. It really won't.
I felt just basically Don sent us this Depticon glass, and I've had it on my desk since Crackcon. And because I've been basing, the static grass has gone in there. I poured my pint in it, and the head had a hairy head. It was.
I think we'll just leave that comment right there. Right, let's look at some of the pictures. Remember, go and post your stuff on the Facebook page because it's really great to see it. So it's just a selection from the last couple of weeks of some of the stuff that people have been posting. Warren, somebody's doing 0-200, I believe, by the look of that.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Very cool.
Very
nice.
nice.
That is always stuff. And the War Games Atlantic one.
German centuries and so forth. I still have a game with that.
That is the I think that's the contents of the starter actually. And so you do get, fair amount. You'll never field all that, but yeah, you've got lots of options because you've got like the dogs and you've got the guys surrendering because there's missions where you got to escort people things as well. So
you've got the handy hawk man.
Cool. Yeah.
Handy hawk, yeah. Completely different from Tony.
Oh, lovely.
You did say it was from some particular game, but I didn't write that down, so I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Anyway. Rage. It's from Rage, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Yes,
I'll
think.
take your word for it. Tim is into his O group. O group.
That wall is fantastic. I really, really like the whole thing is just really good.
It's actually fantastic, isn't it? The guy just peering around the corner with his machine gun as well. Really
Top
good
work.
Lovely stuff. You'll have to translate this. This is Stig Ravengard, apparently.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. Ravengard. Yeah.
Heresy. Are they're the heresy ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're a founding chapter, Dom. You know what that means?
There you go. If you say so.
There you go.
I do like the shoulder blade things, the shoulder plates. They sort of scuff them up nicely. They're good. And something else I have no idea. This is Steve Clawshot. Clawshot is in a World War One film, apparently.
They're Skaven sort of things.
It's the Kings of War.
Kings of War.
Kings of War stuff.
What are they called? Ratmen or Ratkins or something?
Oh, Ratkin, I think.
Yeah.
I know.
They're very cool. I do like them.
Nicely done, though.
They're basically rat people.
Mad Sean.
Oh, Sean.
Look at those Turkopols and Seljuk warriors. Absolutely fantastic. Lovely job. Andy.
Oh.
Look at those Crusaders. Cuirassiers. Think about the last lot. Cuirassiers. Swedish Cuirassiers. Yeah, awesome. Anthony. God, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm reading the previous one.
You sure you've got any of those drinks, Dom?
I've only had. I must be. It's only one Krabbies. Is all I've had tonight.
You're like me.
Anthony and his orange Nassau.
Do you know what? I say this every time Anthony posts anything, but he's a machine. The man is a Napoleonic painting machine. It would take me about 4 years to paint them.
Well, let's put it blunt, Steve. You still not finished that bloody 36-man unit that you started, 20 years ago?
I can't finish them. I turnipped the remainder of them.
God, man. So this is Benjamin's 23 days it took him to complete these Flames of War figures.
That's cool.
Very nice.
That's great, isn't it?
That is insane, mate.
23 days. Awesome. Really nice. Love this little fella. This is Daniel's 18mm AB miniature.
You could easily say that was 28mm. Absolutely.
Easily.
Just
I got 28mm. A lot worse than that. That is fantastic. Fantastic. Bit of
look Yeah.
Oh,
Medieval action from Ian.
Oh,
Henry
nice.
VI, isn't it?
It is indeed.
That's very cool.
Nicely done. Someone else has got the massive command base disease that's going around, thanks to Martin. Very nice
That
indeed.
big?
And
lovely.
more War of the Roses. This is Ian's Baron Wells.
Baron Wells, yeah.
Very nice indeed. We were talking about this before we came on, but this was so Boards and Swords, where we host Crackcon. Ian put on Trafalgar Day.
Windy boat game.
Oh, yeah, the windy
mean,
boat game. I'm painting a windy boat.
Just amazing. And we've all seen these, everyone who went to Crackcon saw these boats and ships very close up, and they are amazing. They are extraordinarily
nice.
Beautiful. So there you go.
He wouldn't let me. He wouldn't take my £10 though, dude. He wouldn't take my £10 off.
No, it's very up to 100.
yeah. Do you know what, Ken? I think you went in. You think your offer might have been just slightly too low at that point.
Just a smidge too low. This is James and Lord Fitzwater.
Fitzwater, man who died in his pants. But...
He did. Died in his pants at the hands.
James
I thought that was
is an incredibly
Elvis.
good painter.
It's Elvis died as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he at Ferrybridge?
Should have been.
Richard's been working on his dead man's hand.
Oh, lovely.
Hey.
Oh, that's wicked.
Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Nathan is working on some Japanese.
I think they are the Japanese that he acquired at Crackcon, Martin.
They may be done in some kind of trade with some dodgy fella.
Yeah, they look that way, don't they?
They look very, very cool.
Jonas, just to top Martin's
Arthurian, yeah.
figures, he's showing off his figures, and they are amazing. I just love that. Wow. I'm going to have to get mine out and paint them. Really am. These are from John. More Arthurian.
Yes, heavy cavalry, isn't it?
Heavy cavalry. Yeah.
Lovely.
Absolutely
Lovely.
Beautiful. I lost my place there. I think I've gone through it. Is that it? No, it's more. No, I think that's it. I've lost a whole load of pictures. How weird. As usual, they seem to have dropped off at the end.
That does happen.
Oh, well, there we go. There's a selection of them. Thank you, everybody who contributed. Everyone's talking about Elvis and his pants. We're not going to talk about that anymore. Awesome. So, yeah, reminder, post your stuff on Facebook. Love to see your work. It's great to see the variety that's there. It's not the size of your command base that counts, it's how you use it. I don't know. There's a creeping tendency of massive. I think at some point somebody's going to have a 6x4 command base. That's all I'm going to say. Cool. So we're into the last 10 minutes or so of tonight's shenanigans. Thank you, everybody, as ever, who joined and all watched on the replay. I've said that twice tonight, just to get that in. So, Glenn, what else is afoot? What's planned for? What shows are you going to be at? That'd be good to know, because there's a lot. It's show season at the moment again, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've only actually got 2 left this year now.
Oh.
We're at Warfare next month, which has moved again. This time from Ascot
Farnborough.
to Farnborough. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
It's our gaming club home.
Gaming club.
No.
So we're making that short journey then.
Yeah.
And then after that, we've just got the Battleground show at Stockton. And stupidly enough, either side of that, I get married. So I booked the venue, thinking that it was going to clash with Warfare and how to sit down and break it to Martin. And then the Warfare organisers went, "Oh, I'm really sorry, guys. We've had to move the show a week earlier this year." And
you went, yes.
I got off scot-free. So yeah, we've just got the 2 shows left this year now. we would usually do the Fiasco show at Leeds this weekend coming. But it's my stag do as it's my wedding next month. So, we spoke to the organisers, and the organisers went, hey, that's fine. We'll see you next year. I'm firmly getting in the way with things there. But, yeah, we've just got 2 shows left this year now. Looking forward to both of those.
We'll be seeing you at Warfare.
We'll be at Warfare. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Definitely be there.
Yeah, looking forward to that very much. Warfare's a good one. It's just the drive.
That is a hell of a drive for you.
Yeah. I think I set off from mine at about 4 a.m. to set up on the Friday. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I remember Warfare last year. I was just watching Ken going in and out of the bring and buy for about 5 hours, just in and out. The fact he was getting in a proper little paddy because we couldn't go in there until I finished my cup of tea, so I was purposely taking as long as I possibly could.
I won't need to this year though. I've printed my minis. Be fine.
You're not going to go in there.
I'll go in there, but I'm not going to buy it.
Of course you didn't. That's a lie.
Don't believe a word of it. I can't believe last year Warfare was. I could almost walk to the venue. It's so close to where I live.
Yeah, and you couldn't even go.
And I couldn't go as we were away.
That cracked me up. That did.
One
That was
time I was almost able to get there. Jeez. Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's a good show though. I do like Warfare. It's good fun. Although I used to like it when it was in Reading because I could go and up the train and have a few sherbets afterwards. Whereas I think I've got to drive to Farnborough, which is annoying. Anyway, actually, somebody asked the question, Ben, and we didn't ask it earlier on. What you play? We talked about it before we came on the stream. But what do you play? You don't have any time, I guess, with married, moving house, running all the business and everything else. With me meant to be moving house this week, my house is in boxes, along with all my gaming stuff. So I'm not a big gamer as such. There isn't necessarily anything that I play. I very much paint just for the R&R side of things. I've tried going down to club nights and I just end up finding myself working. So I don't really tend to play all too much. But yeah, I kind of just paint things that take my fancy. Before I packed it all away, I had I was doing American Airborne. Started painting up some of that stuff. I got a whole load of stuff at the end of last year. So I was working on a few bits and pieces like that, painting some, I think it was Warlord Vikings, I think it was. It's more kind of just the painting side of things, really. When it's become my job, I find it really hard to go home and then pick it back up again. So I kind of lost that side of the hobby, unfortunately. But I still love it, still really enjoy it. But it's the painting side of things that I tend to do now, and it's nothing, not for anything in particular. It's just whatever takes my fancy at the time. It's one of those weird things that we had a few people on the stream who kind of run their own businesses and what have you, and it's apart from the Perrys who just seem to do whatever it is that they whatever they want to do because they want to play with them, they'll do a range of whatever it is, like South American wars that nobody's ever heard of. Steve,
quiet.
But everyone else, it's a similar kind of thing. It's like it's almost a shame because everyone gets into it because they love the hobby and they love doing it, but keeping that going when it's your business as well and your full-time job is quite a challenge, really. Yeah, when it's my Monday, Friday 9-5, and then I jump in the car and drive home, and then I get home and I kind of just end up feeling like I'm sometimes just working again. It's trying to
switch that off. Trying to, you start working on something. You're like, oh, hang on a minute, I have an idea here. And an hour later, you find yourself drawing a new range of buildings, and you're like, oh, hang on a minute, this isn't relaxed. This is just work again.
Just working again. Yeah.
So no, I can understand that. Starting a business in the hobby and still trying to keep the two of them separate, it is difficult sometimes. You speak a lot to guys who've started their own figure range, and a lot of guys turn around and go, it's become my job so much to the point that I don't enjoy the hobby anymore. So I kind of went the other way and then didn't get involved in the hobby.
Fair enough.
But no, I paint kind of whatever takes my fancy, just for enjoyment, really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know what we're going to ask. How are we going to do now? We're going to put Glenn on the spot. So I want to know from everybody else, what building or piece of terrain or something like that would you like to see Warbases do?
Oh, that's bloody good.
What about you, Steve? You look pensive and thinking about it. Something for turnips.
Turnip 28.
Oh,
I don't know how you do it though, because it's all dilapidated hovels and really grim looking cottages, and it's just awful, really, isn't it?
I've always kind of found it's really hard in MDF to create a ruined building.
Yeah.
Because you kind of almost have to build it and then break it. Personally, it's something I've always struggled with trying to create. So it's in part why we tend not to do anything like that. Try to create that kind of rundown, dilapidated kind of effect. It can be kind of hard. It's something personally, anyway, for design work I struggle to achieve.
No. I mean, there's a certain aesthetic behind turnip anyway that I think people, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to explain.
You could just get hold of a nice sort of broken down kind of MDF building, slabber it in mud, and that would be perfect, wouldn't it?
That'd be pretty much it. And paint it with some. Like imagine sort of wattle and daub, but with like more emphasis on the shit side of things. Really, it's the best way to describe it. It really is.
Awesome. What about you, Ken? What do you want? If you could have anything.
You know what? I would pick something along the 6.
I know you don't 3D print it, but whatever.
Yeah, 6mm side of things for Epic, like the big like tower spire buildings, because they're all square and stuff like that. They've got the Gothic buildings, but whole buildings, not ruins. Yeah, you could do like a hive sort of city.
No
comment.
No is the answer. No.
Yeah.
We've got some drawings in 10mm, which we could look at potentially downscaling, perhaps. But
it'd probably be 8, not 6, to be fair, because it's now 8mm. If that makes sense.
But the big problem with that is the material thickness in creation. When you're talking about 6 to 8mm, and a third or a quarter of that is the thickness of the material. It does get really difficult really quick.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine. I can imagine. The dream is real, though.
What about you, Martin? What would you dream of?
What do I dream of in MDF?
I was going to say, just narrow it down, not what you dream of, because we don't want to know.
Napoleonic fortifications, like redoubts and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I like stuff like that because I can only find them in big resin lumps.
Yeah.
Or even if you've just got the MDF parts, which then you have to fill in with other, with your own stuff. But because someone gave me the mad idea of doing a semi-siege Napoleonic game, and I was like, I'll go and look at some fortifications other than just Douglas. But there's forts and things. There were forts.
Yeah.
Although I have also now just looked at I've got that book on the Anglo-Zulu War, and there's the bit like the Anglo-Zulu War forts are actually do that because that's what I'm doing. To do those I like the idea of loads of buildings just made out of biscuit boxes. That's with bits thrown over the top. So actually, yeah, I just like fortifications generally. Just like of any period, I just like fortifications.
There you go, fortifications it is. We got hobbit houses from Little Legions, or maybe just round doors and windows. There you go. Interesting. Interesting. 20mm Normandy buildings. Kind of, we've already sort of talked about smaller scales, but yeah. Nick wants 15th, 16th century small village buildings for 28mm. Interesting.
Okay.
Louis says just keep doing bases.
Yeah.
And Chris says Pegasus Bridge. There you go.
We done one in 15mm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was huge in 15mm.
Yeah, it's a very big model, isn't it?
It's a very
we kind of tried to keep it all to scale, and it ended up being huge. And the problem with that is that the cost was huge. And it became to a point that we couldn't justifiably run it and sell it and make any money off of it. So to do one in 28mm, we could do, but you'd struggle to make it justifiably affordable for customers.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've overrun our time. Look at that. Well, we have to pay Ken overtime, and we don't want to do that. Thank you, Glenn, once again for appearing tonight. Really grateful you could come on. It's great to hear about the business and what you get up to and how it all works. I'm still thinking about the amount of MDF you go through every week. Jeez.
Well, think about me having to carry it to the post office every day.
Can't even get a collection. Jeez.
No. We're about 100 yards from our local post office. Yeah, I can see it out the front door of the unit, so
you can't quite do it then.
It wouldn't be right in justifying getting a collection.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much, and thanks for everything you do, because actually, I think some fantastic work that you guys do. And the stuff
absolutely.
you sent us for Crackcon for the raffles and stuff.
Thank you very much
as well. So appreciate that immensely.
So
thanks for everyone watching. Much appreciated. Who's up next week? I've forgotten already.
It's me next week, and we're doing our little Halloween
special, isn't it?
Our Halloween special, which is your wargaming horror stories. So I'll put the stream up and a link up on the group, and people can post away. And it's a bit of fun. It could be anything. It could be like my one, where the person turned up and moved their stuff around in little plastic bags because that was better than Sabbath bases apparently. Or it could be some kind of horrible situation that you've had gaming, and I'm sure there'll be some spooky related miniatures.
There's gonna be some rip snorters.
Martin, I wish you hadn't mentioned that, because I'd forgotten about that, and it just the guy with his figures in the sandwich bags. I just thought that's one of the funniest things.
Well, give him some credit. He did write on the bags what was in them, so I knew.
It's all okay, isn't it?
Like 10 orcs.
I don't see what your problem is, Martin. I really don't.
Problem is when he died, he had to take one out of the bag and all those little pieces. That's just not fun, is it?
Oh dear. Anyway, save that for next week. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Have a really good week, and stay safe. And we will see you next Monday, 8 p.m. on Martin's channel. So see you again then.
See you
later.
Bye.
Bye.